When we hear about super successful entrepreneurs, we rarely think about their personal habits and rituals that might have contributed to their billions. Take Elon Musk, for example, who is known for his unusual approach to time management. He breaks his day into 5-minute intervals, which allows him to be as productive as possible. This approach helps him dive into complex tasks without distractions and literally compresses time, leaving room only for what matters. Another example is Richard Branson. He starts his day with physical exercise every morning. But it's not just a habit to stay in shape. It's part of his fighting spirit for every new morning. A brisk workout in the fresh air gives him a boost of energy and creativity, which he channels into his business projects. Another intriguing habit that sets Bill Gates apart is his love of reading. He reads 50 books a year, and these aren't just numbers. Gates pays special attention to books on topics that broaden his worldview and provide new ideas for business. This allows him to stay ahead of others and anticipate market trends. It seems that people like Musk, Branson, and Gates, at first glance, have some kind of superpowers. However, their habits prove that success is not just about brilliant ideas, but also about daily rituals that help them stay on top. And perhaps this is where the secret of their multi-billion-dollar successes lies. But how did they deal with failures that no one expected? Secret failures that no one knows about. Things don't always go smoothly in the business world. Even the greatest businessmen face failures they'd rather not talk about. For example, Steve Jobs, the legendary leader of Apple, once faced being ousted from the very company he founded. In the mid-1980s, after disappointing sales of the Macintosh computer, Jobs found himself in conflict with the board of directors and was forced to leave the company. But it was precisely this failure that became a lesson for him, allowing him to return in the late 90s and take Apple to new heights. Another example is Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. In the early 2000s, Bezos launched the Fire Phone project, a smartphone that was supposed to compete with market leaders. However, the device was a spectacular failure, causing the company to lose millions of dollars. Despite this, Bezos learned from this mistake and focused on other areas such as developing the Alexa voice assistant, which ultimately helped strengthen Amazon's position in the technology sector. Richard Branson, known to us for his company Virgin, has also experienced failure more than once. He attempted to enter the beverage market with Virgin Cola, hoping to challenge the industry giants, but the product didn't take off and the project was shut down. Nevertheless, Branson has always been able to find new opportunities and diversify his business to offset losses, which became one of the key factors in his success. Failures and mistakes are an integral part of every entrepreneur's journey. It is precisely the understanding and analysis of these failures that allows business people not only to survive but also to rethink their strategies, creating momentum for future successes. What lesson is hidden in these failures that can change the future of business? Risky decisions that change the world forever. When it comes to making risky decisions, some entrepreneurs have a special knack for seeing opportunities where others see only danger. Let's take the example of Elon Musk, who invested all the money he made from selling PayPal into Tesla and SpaceX despite a huge number of skeptics. In the mid-2000s, when both companies were on the verge of bankruptcy, Musk risked everything, including his own personal wealth. This move turned out to be a turning point. Thanks to his determination, Tesla became a leader in electric vehicles, and SpaceX successfully took humanity to a new level in space exploration. Let's move on to Steve Jobs, who was known for his unexpected and often controversial decision to launch the Think Different campaign. In the 1990s, when Apple was losing its market share, Jobs took a risk by changing the marketing strategy and launching a series of creative advertising campaigns. That risk paid off. The Apple brand became a symbol of innovation and creativity, which played a key role in the company's revival. Later, we see how Jeff Bezos made a bold decision to expand Amazon not only as an online store, but also into the field of cloud technologies. In the early 2000s, when few people yet realized the full potential of cloud services, Bezos invested significant resources into Amazon Web Services. This decision led to AWS becoming one of the company's most profitable divisions, securing Amazon's leadership in this industry. These cases demonstrate how risky decisions can not only change the fate of a company but also impact entire industries. These entrepreneurs were not afraid to go against the grain and take on great risks, which ultimately allowed them to achieve incredible heights. In the next part, we will look at how unexpected mentors and their influence can play an equally important role in the success of entrepreneurs. Unconventional mentors and their influence. Continuing the theme of influences on the path of great entrepreneurs, unexpected mentors often become an integral part of many of their successes. It is often their advice and support that help make the first steps or overcome crises. Take, for example, Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft. In his youth, he found support in Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors of our time. Buffett helped Gates look at business through the lens of long-term investments and strategies, which allowed Microsoft to grow into a powerful corporation. Gates has repeatedly noted that Buffett's advice on the importance of setting priorities and considering the human factor proved to be invaluable. Moving on to another legend, Steve Jobs, one recalls his meeting with Edwin Land, the inventor and founder of Polaroid. Land inspired Jobs to create products that changed the world, focusing attention on design and user experience. This influence from Land proved critical in the development of Apple products such as the Mac and iPhone, which went beyond the ordinary and became iconic. Another example is Mark Zuckerberg, the creator of Facebook. At the beginning of his career, he received support from Steve Jobs, who gave him many valuable pieces of advice on strategic planning and inspired him to create innovative solutions. Under such influence, Zuckerberg significantly strengthened his company's position, turning Facebook into a global social platform. These examples show how significant advice and mentorship from more experienced leaders can be. They not only help young entrepreneurs avoid mistakes, but also inspire them to reach new heights. Mentors provide their protégés with the tools and confidence necessary for success, things that are sometimes impossible to find on one's own. But innovations, which at times may seem crazy, play an equally important role in the development of a company. Yet it is precisely these innovations that can push the boundaries of what is possible. Innovations that were on the verge of madness. When you dive into the world of business innovation, you often encounter ideas that at first glance seem insane. But it is precisely these kinds of projects that can change the world. Let's take a look at Elon Musk's decision to found the company Neuralink. Musk, known for his adventurous spirit, this time set out to create a brain-computer interface that would allow people to interact with technology directly through their thoughts. An unusual idea, isn't it? Skeptics doubted its success, but Musk continues to push this innovation forward, hoping it will make it possible to treat neurological diseases and even enhance humanity. This idea, bordering on science fiction, highlights his drive to go beyond what is possible. Another example is Jeff Bezos and his project Blue Origin. In the late 1990s, when Amazon was just gaining momentum, Bezos founded a space company to make space travel accessible and safe. Many considered it madness to start such a project in the midst of the e-commerce boom. However, Bezos believes in a future where space tourism will become commonplace. Today, Blue Origin is successfully conducting tests and planning commercial flights, proving that risky ideas can become reality. Steve Jobs never regretted ambitious projects that seemed absurd at first. The creation of the first iPhone is a prime example. In the mid-2000s, the mobile phone market was saturated, but Jobs saw an opportunity to combine a music player, a phone, and an internet device into a single gadget. This project turned Apple into one of the leaders in the smartphone market and became a model for others to follow. These innovations show that sometimes it is precisely on the edge of madness that ideas are born, which change the world. Taking a leap into the unknown requires courage and confidence, which strengthens the position of a business empire and inspires other entrepreneurs to seek out new horizons. Next, we learn about unexpected partnerships that became turning points for many companies. Unprecedented alliances that no one saw coming. In the business world, there are often alliances that at first seem unbelievable, but it is precisely these that can change not only companies but entire industries. Let's look at the example of the partnership between Microsoft and Apple in the 1990s. At that time, Apple was in crisis and needed funding and support. Contrary to expectations, Bill Gates, the man many considered Steve Jobs' main rival, provided Apple with an investment of $150 million. This move not only strengthened Apple's position in the market, but also laid the foundation for further collaborations in software development. Let's move on to the interesting alliance between Tesla and Toyota. In the early 2000s, when Tesla was just starting out, the Japanese automotive giant invested in Musk's company and signed a contract for joint development of electric vehicles. This partnership allowed Tesla to accelerate its technological development and gain access to Toyota's resources and expertise, which played a key role in establishing Tesla as a leader in the electric vehicle industry. The partnership between Starbucks and PepsiCo is no less significant. In the 1990s, Starbucks sought to enter the beverage market but lacked experience in this area. As a result of the collaboration with PepsiCo, a ready-to-drink coffee brand was launched which quickly became popular. This alliance demonstrated how two different companies can jointly create a successful product by leveraging each other's strengths. These examples illustrate the power of unexpected alliances in business. Such partnerships not only accelerate company growth but also transform the market, expanding opportunities for innovation and new products. The intrigue of such alliances lies in the fact that they often begin out of necessity or mismatch, but it is precisely this that holds the key to their success. Later on, we will see how these alliances can influence strategic shifts at critical moments. Radical strategic changes at critical moments. Sometimes a company's fate depends on radical changes in strategy made at critical moments. Let's look at the example of Netflix in the early 2000s. When DVD rentals began to lose popularity, Reed Hastings, the founder of Netflix, made a bold decision to move the business online, launching streaming of movies and TV shows over the internet. Up until that time, such a model seemed risky, but Hastings saw the future in it. This radical change in strategy allowed the company to dominate the world of streaming, disrupting traditional models of television and the film industry. Next, let's move on to Microsoft in the 1990s, when Bill Gates realized that the internet would become a key element in business. Despite criticism and skepticism, he changed the strategy by making the Internet Explorer browser an integral part of the Windows operating system. This move helped Microsoft strengthen its leading position in the market and open up new opportunities for users. It's also worth mentioning Apple in the mid-2000s when Steve Jobs decided to completely rethink the approach to computer development by introducing the MacBook Air. This ultra-thin laptop caused a sensation in the market, demonstrating that compactness and efficiency can go hand in hand. This strategic shift allowed Apple to secure its position in the premium segment and inspired other companies to create similar devices. These examples show how radical changes in strategy at key moments help companies not only survive in challenging conditions, but also reach an entirely new level. At critical moments, such decisions become decisive, opening up new horizons for business and transforming the face of entire industries. The lessons from these strategic transformations show that flexibility and readiness for change are the keys to continued success in the ever-changing world of business. Lessons from the past for a successful business future. When considering lessons from the past that can become the key to a successful business future, it is worth paying attention to the practices of entrepreneurs like Henry Ford. At the beginning of the 20th century, Ford introduced the principle of assembly line production, which at the time seemed revolutionary. Thanks to this method, cars became more affordable and set a new standard in manufacturing. This approach not only transformed the automotive industry but also became the foundation for mass production in many sectors. Another important lesson is the ability to adapt and respond to change. IBM, which originally produced mechanical scales and cash registers, managed to become a leader in the field of IT technologies. In the mid-20th century, it shifted its focus to computers and software, which allowed the company to survive and thrive amid rapid technological progress. Another example is strategic planning and a long-term perspective on business. Many modern corporations can learn a lot from John Rockefeller, who, when building his oil empire Standard Oil, focused on integrating all stages of production and distribution. This approach made it possible to reduce costs and gain control over the market, which became the foundation of his monopolistic success. These examples show that recognizing and applying lessons from the past can be an effective tool in developing strategies capable of ensuring prosperity for many years to come. The key is a commitment to constant innovation, adaptability, and foresight. As experience shows, success in business depends not only on the uniqueness of an idea, but also on the ability to learn from previous generations by applying their experience in a modern context.